Hi, everybody, and welcome to the Australian Vintage Computer Collector Zoom Catch-Up for September 2022. Before I begin, I'd like to point out that this is being recorded so others can view later. So as I have been unable to establish communications with the newcomers, I will proceed and we will start talking about what we've been doing for the last month. And for myself, I can honestly tell you, I have done very little. I would be lucky to have moved anything on my desk for the last month. So unfortunately, I've got nothing to report. So that's very quick. Now, Ian, can you tell us what you've been doing for the last month?
I've been getting ready to go to Tandy Assembly, which I go to on the 28th of September. So what are we? We're talking 10 days from now. So off to Ohio.
Awesome.
First time since 2019. So that's going to be fun. They've roped me in for a lot of stuff to do there, a lot of unpaid stuff. So that's big of them. At this stage, I'm doing a talk about the Dick Smith System 80. They find it fascinating there. They did get the System 80. It was sold as the PMC 80 and 81. But they're very rare there, and so they're looking forward to that. So I shall put my Cobra on and do that talk
with the corks.
Yep. Talk about Dick Smith, show some of his old advertising and hyperbole. So that should be fun. Then the next day, they've got me running the auction, so that's going to be weird. An Aussie up, fast talking Aussie up there to a bunch of what's the best way of putting it? Middle Americans. So that will be fun. But I said I'll do it as long as you bring me a gavel. So one of them's going to bring me a gavel. We're going to do an auction. We're going to do it properly. So that will be fun. And then later that night, I'm doing the trivia competition. Those may not all know, but so 2017, 18, and 19, I won the trivia competition 3 years in a row, and I couldn't get there last year, so someone else won. So I said, well, like a prize boxer, I'm going to bow out with my title intact of 3 wins and in 3 games. And I'll be the trivia master. So I'm in the process of writing a trivia competition which borders on pub trivia in style. So
are you sure that you weren't just kicked out and you were forced to be the question asker?
It was going to happen sooner or later. So I'm just, I just thought I'll just volunteer for it and see if any of them are.
So are you going to do
Tandy?
Are you going to do Tandy related trivia questions, or are you just going to do?
Oh, that's what it is. Yeah, it's Tandy related ones. Yeah,
okay.
And
cool.
But I, in my own sort of inevitable way, I will do them. But we don't.
What's the video? What's the video base address on a TRS-80 Model 1? Things like that, or
yes, all that sort of thing. Yes. Right down to the minutiae of them, like the catalog numbers for different versions, and because we often get the engineers who designed these things there as keynotes and at Tandy Assembly and things like that. I tell them they're doing trivia, so they're put up there against me, and you'd think they would be able to easily beat me, but my crowning glory was I'm sitting next to Paul T. Schreiber, who designed the second version of the Coco 1, and the trivia question was who designed the second version of the Coco 1. And I pressed the button quicker and said him. He was like, I didn't even hear the question. So I'm the current crown king of Tandy trivia, so I can write a good trivia thing. And but normally it's just done with 3 contestants up the front, but I've drawn up a sheet. And I've got 6 questions that I'm going to fling out to the audience, 1 every 10 questions to the contestants, and we'll see who in the audience can answer my 6 questions. I'll give them a packet of Tim Tams or something. I'm sure they'll love that. So that's what I'm looking forward to do with that. But in the meantime, to get ready to go there, well, I had a quiet eBay week or 2 weeks leading up to this weekend, and then this weekend has just gone crazy. And so I've got to put the out of office on my my eBay shop for one, and then fill all these orders. And then I realised I've got to do them all with a 3-day week in Victoria. So so that's I'm going to be flat out from the get-go tomorrow until post time on Wednesday. So we're all happening here. We're quite literally here at my place post pandemic. I don't know if you remember our first one of these Zoom things, Anthony. I had my mask on.
Yes.
In in solidarity with everyone else being locked down in Victoria. So there you go. Any questions, anyone?
Yes. How do you get to Ohio? What's your flight path?
Well, this year to Ohio is Melbourne to Sydney to LAX to O'Hare at Chicago, and then to Dayton. And then coming back is Dayton to San Francisco to Brisbane to Melbourne. So yeah, it's just, and it's in coach. I know I come across as being, far more well off than I than I make out at times, but no, it's all in coach.
How long are you over there, Merv?
I'll get there on Wednesday night and I'll leave on Monday morning. So it's
so just carry on.
No, I do have a checked bag. I'm taking my son with me, and we're going to say I'm pretty smart at times. We got those big ass bags, and my son is your typical 25-year-old and travels around with shorts and runners and a couple of t-shirts and not much else. So I'm going to use all the extra space in that bag to bring crap home from the Tandy Assembly auction. So so I've got 2 of those bags which can total 23 kilograms each. I'll tell you what, I've got a little scale thing which is actually quite accurate. They're getting filled to 22.9 kilograms before being checked in, and yeah, that'll be that's got to get something out of this trip.
Nice.
But I'd recommend I got to say, I'd recommend those scales from Aldi. They're like $11 or something, and you hook it on your bag, and you lift the bag up. And I know I'm probably preaching to everyone knows what I'm talking about, but I thought they were fantastic actually. And I got when I was in Canada, I think I had my bag down to 22.95 and put in 1 extra chocolate bar, which for that close to 23 kilos, just went through. They just got like, okay, through it goes. So,
Oh, very good.
yeah. And for those interested to know, October will be the next Melbourne get together, probably again at Keysborough in the Muddy car park. And cool. Like last time.
Do you know what date roughly, ballpark?
No.
Okay, because I'm traveling quite a bit in October.
Oh, okay. Look, you used to be able to predict these things months in advance, but now all the places are kind of doing it on a month or fortnightly hiring to Alan for the premises for them. So I would say it's either going to be the 2nd or the 4th week of October, but I couldn't say which one. But it's probably going to be at that place.
Cool.
Will there be one in December?
Yeah, 2 monthly. Yeah, each 2 months is how often I'm going to do it. So yeah.
October's looking pretty busy for me, but December I'm possibly coming down to Melbourne.
Oh yeah, you're up for a road trip. Cool. I'll give you some stuff to take back to Sydney. I don't know. There's a gentleman called Joe Lemura.
Oh yes, he's always.
Yeah, he bought some stuff from me, or March maybe. Still sitting here. He's been saying he's coming every 2 months to come and get it, and hasn't. Doesn't bother me because it doesn't take up much space, so no biggie on my part. But I just the label. I noticed the other day the label I put with it, with his name on it, has started to fade. I thought, oh shit, it's been here a while.
Oh dear. I'll tell him off.
Yeah. Oh, do you know him? Do you? He's a regular of yours, is he?
Yeah, he's part of the ACMS as well. So
Awesome.
I see
No
him
worries.
most weeks when he's not off overseas with work.
Awesome. Yeah. Well, we'll get your people in touch with my people, and I'll see you to take back to Sydney.
Very good.
Okay. Yeah. Very good.
All right, Murray, tell us about what you've been doing.
Well, as I mentioned earlier before the recording, I've been doing a lot of work at the building of ACMS, their current museum. We had a very successful workshop there. What was it, a few weeks ago, Pat? We had a visitor from Melbourne come up, which was very nice to see. Flew in just for the day and flew back again. I couldn't get him to stay overnight. It didn't matter what I tried. And we had Bruce Rain came along. Some of you may be aware of him, and he did some recapping and demonstration of that, which was very good. And another of our members did some work on, we have been donated an Ohio Scientific Superboard computer, which is a rather unusual thing in a sort of like a pressed metal frame like your pets, but it's got wooden sides on it. And yeah, he tested that and decided that there's probably a couple of faulty parts in it, but he did a lot of work. He's restoring one of his own as well.
Cool.
And we've yeah, that's probably about all we've got at the moment. I have found from one of our ex-members who, was the last year he died, John Dean, who was involved with the invention of the Wi-Fi, has kept all these old ACMS newsletters.
Oh, cool.
I've been scanning a lot of those in. Yeah, I think that's about it from me at the moment.
Cool, very good.
Oh, we have set up an eBay site, which is good, and we've finally got charity status. So you'll be a bit envious, Ian. I'm only paying 1% fee plus 30 cents on each transaction.
Tacit acknowledgement. Very good.
Bit better than their 12%, which is what you normally charge.
Yeah. Oh, very good.
Yeah.
Michael, what have you been doing?
Thanks, Anthony. I finally put together a Commodore 64 Reloaded Mark I. It had sat there in its original packaging for 7 or 8 years, and it's been excellent. It was really nice to experiment with different combinations of SIDs and other chips too, with the zero insertion force sockets. I'm still hunting for some e-waste with surface mount capacitors to practice on before I attack my Amiga 1200. Everything I pull apart doesn't have surface mount capacitors in it. If anyone can give me a steer on where I'm most likely to find those, I'd love to hear about it.
I would say.
Whereabouts are you?
In Canberra.
Canberra, okay.
Amigas.
Amiga 1200s.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's exactly the kind of e-waste I'm trying to save.
But wouldn't you say like mid-90s stereo equipment would be probably a good bet?
Yeah, maybe.
So, because I mean, no one cares about those CD players and hi-fi integrated things, and there'd be plenty of surface mount in those. So if you see those things on the side of the road, certainly smash them open.
Mac Classics.
Yes, Mac Classics. Yeah, I have about 10,000 ones I've destroyed. So yeah, but your best bet would be stereo equipment, I reckon.
Right. I'm determined to get it right. So I've got the tooling, and I'm very competent with the soldering iron. I've done surface mount before. I've just never done these capacitors, and all I hear about them is that they're very easy to get wrong. So I wanted to have a practice. And the other thing I've been doing is having a look at, I've got a new old stock power supply for an Amiga 1000. And as far as I know, it's never been plugged in and turned on. And I know you can reform capacitors before you use them properly, but it's kind of hard while they're in circuit like that. And I'm trying to figure out how to demothball it. I think I may just need to pull all the capacitors off it, even though they've never been used, and recap it before I switch it on. If anyone has any ideas about that, that'd be welcome as well. I don't want to let all the smoke out of everything. You know, all of the semiconductors in it, all, you know, the rectifiers and voltage regulators and all the carbon resistors and everything, they're all brand new. So
just put the ECAPs on a in-circuit ESR tester and check their values. If they're all within spec, then it's fine to plug it in.
That's a good idea.
And use it. The only ones I ever replace on a new old stock power supply, or even an old power supply, is the reefer ones, the ones that smoke, the mains filter caps. The E-caps, if they're obviously bulging, well, you don't even need to test them, you replace those. But if they look okay or have never been used, I put an ESR meter on them to make sure they're still within spec, and if they are, then I go and power them up. And I've never had one that is still within ESR, within its spec, sorry, flame out or do anything dumb like that. The other thing as well that I've noticed is, or I don't know how much of these reforming, refoaming, whatever the hell, what was the description you used before, Michael?
Yeah, I
Reforming.
like you're supposed to charge them really slowly through.
Yeah, I've never heard of one person who's done that successfully. I think it's a theory and no one's actually ever done it. Or
There's one person in this group right now who I know has done it because he mentioned it a couple of months ago. Cameron, would you have any comments?
Can you hear me? Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, I did one big one in my SWT PC from the 70s, which was huge, and it probably hasn't been turned on for 40 years. So yeah, I just put it on the bench supply and just gradually turned it up, and it seems to work. I didn't really test it beforehand though, because I don't know what I'm doing. So I could have tested the capacitance and stuff and realized, hey, it's broken, but
I have
I
done
don't know.
it.
I just did it because only because it seems to be mostly automotive and stereo people that are concerned with that, because they have really huge, gigantic capacitors. It seems to be the smaller ones don't possibly get affected by it as much. So this 70s computer had a big, massive capacitor, and the only other one I would probably bother doing it with is my Commodore PET, which has similar gigantic capacitors. But I don't know. My flatmate, who's much better at electronics than me, says the small ones don't really need to do as much. Oh, yeah.
Cool.
Thanks, Cameron. I have done it once with old capacitors I was putting into a subwoofer amplifier, and I got the process for doing it from a Panasonic, I think it was, datasheet. So apparently the manufacturers say it's a thing, but very hard to do in circuit with switch mode supply. So
yeah.
I do have
a
proper meter. I'll measure the ESR of them and do some.
Well, I mean,
thanks for this.
The idea of it makes sense to me. Like if all the chemicals basically come off the plates and stuff, and you just punch 240 volts through it, you're going to punch a hole through it. So the idea is like you get the chemicals and stuff reacting and going back onto the plates and sticking properly before you try and punch full power through it. So that makes sense to me. So yeah, huge ones in really old computers are usually screwed in, so that's why it was easy for me to do it. But yeah, in circuit's kind of a pain in the ass.
You can do.
My flatmate.
I was just going to say you can do a similar procedure with batteries, which I've got a bit of experience with. Is that with lithium-ion batteries, the electrolytes generate what they call dendrites of the cathode coming off the material, and if you do the same thing, if you apply a low charge voltage or you limit the current, you can reform some of the anode material or the cathode material and bring some batteries back to life. So it makes sense, I guess, from a chemistry point of view.
Yeah. I asked my flatmate about just using a Variac on a old terminal I had. He goes, it's not possibly going to work because some chips might actually die from having not enough power going through them if they're that type of era. I thought, oh, that'd be easy. I'll just like slowly 240 the whole machine in one go. But he said, nah, it doesn't really work like that. So I didn't think it did. I was just hoping he'd say yes, but yeah.
Cool. Michael, what else?
Thanks, Anthony. That's it. That's it from me. I'll send a link through about the reloaded board. They were pretty popular when they were released, but if anyone's interested, that it's a really nice circuit board with all the proper electrostatic discharge protection in that Commodore didn't bother with, and so on. So I'll just send a link. And
that was the one with all the 0 insertion 4 sockets all over it, isn't it?
Yeah, and that was fun. Like my PLA that I had didn't work with the Swin SID, so I grabbed myself a 6581 from an older computer, like an old school SID, and it worked. And I'm going to try one of these new Planktons in it. It's a ARM-based PLA, but they've added a second chip to get the voltages right and stop overworking the processor and so on. So
yeah, I got lazy and just bought the Ultimate 64 because I didn't have to do anything. Yeah,
I use the Ultimate 1541 and it's glorious. I recently got the REU sorted out and did a 16 megabyte demo on it. It was wild.
Yeah, when that Sonic the Hedgehog game came out and it needed a REU to load, suddenly REUs became popular, and then the Ultimate 1541s became popular, and there were none of those things.
The demo is called, that I had a look at, it's called Blue REU, and if you select a .REU file with the 1541, it'll just slam it straight in a RAM. It just pushed the whole 16 megabyte file directly into the RAM expansion. Cool. And then you load a little .prg file and you get rickrolled. So
really,
be warned.
Okay, I'm gonna have to look at that. What's it called?
Blue REU.
Yeah, all right, cool.
Full motion video. It's quite a thing.
Oh, I'm gonna have to look at that. That's neat. Cool.
But yeah, I couldn't figure out how to get it running at first, but I had to turn off my Epic's fast load cartridge emulation. But the .REU file, when you click on it, it says, copy into REU, and it takes a while still, but it just directly, because it's 16 megabytes. I mean, what a nightmare. It's like a stack of D64s. So yeah, and then you load the PRG, and it just, if you want to know where the REU bit starts and stops, you can run the PRG file without the REU loaded, and you just get a couple of bits at the start. It's pretty obvious though. There's no way you could have full motion video like that without a. Thanks very much.
No worries. I'm just looking for it now to download. So thank you very much, Rob. He sent the link. Very good. All right, Craig, tell us what you've been doing.
Hi. Yeah, I missed out on the last meeting we had because I was in Seattle, and I think I posted on the list that a nice little clean Tandy Model 4P followed me home, which was very nice. It was actually, I bought it back as hand luggage, not as I didn't want to check it, and I thought we'll see how this goes as hand luggage. I thought, maybe TSA is gonna have problems with me, and I did have a problem with TSA in that half a dozen of them wanted to come around and see what it was. And they were talking to each other and pointing at it and asking me questions, and they thought it was amazing. I thought, wow, yeah, I remember I saw one of those at school. Anyway, so yeah, I got held up going through customs, but not for the reason I thought I was. But other than that, I've been doing lots of other stuff. I've had some personal stuff to take care of. But one thing I did get going, and I think I showed it in an interim state before, was the retro chip tester.
Yep.
From a guy in Germany who's, I won't embarrass myself by trying to pronounce his name. I made two of these, one for my friend in the States and one for myself. And Yeah, very nice device. It's great for testing out RAMs, downloading ROMs, burning ROMs. You're going to need to get all the little adapter boards that go with it for all of the different ROMs. And some of the parts are a little hard to get. But yeah, it'll burn everything from 2708s to 2716s, all of the 8K variants. There's little boards for doing all sorts of stuff. For those of you who are into those things, there's also adapters for reading VIC-20 cartridges and Commodore 64 cartridges, and he's got all the boards done for him. It's only based on a Mega 2650, 2560. Keep getting that round the wrong way because I'm a 2650 fan from way back. But yeah, not particularly difficult to build, but takes a while to get the parts. But yeah, very useful. Other than that, I've still got the microbees, which I'm working my way through. I was going to take one of them with me for a guy in the States who wants one, but for some reason the floppy controller isn't the 2793 isn't being accessed, and I don't know why. I also was going to take a couple of my DRAM replacements for the Terrasati Model 1, but I was in a hurry and I did something stupid with my Model 1, which is I had it out of its case and I forgot that you need to separate the two boards with the keyboard connector, and the two boards touched each other.
Oh.
And it doesn't work anymore. So that was like 2 days. Exactly, says Mav. That was like 2 days before I was supposed to use. So now, I mean, I'm still getting video on the screen, so it's not completely cactus. But I'm going to have to go in there.
The downside is that if you plug the power into the
video port, yeah, been there, done that.
There's a known number of parts that it breaks, so you just go and replace them, and the computer works. And it's the same if you plug the power into the cassette port. We know the parts that break.
Exactly. Yeah.
You just replace them and it fixes it. When you short the keyboard out on the thing, there's no.
Could be anything. It could be anything. It could be anything.
You might be scoping around and for a week to try and find which part or which parts.
But at least I'm still getting video, so it hasn't killed anything in the video, but it's just random characters on the screen.
Yeah, check your ROM selectors then, and put in some known good RAM. That's where I would start.
Exactly. So I was going to ask you, Matt, do you have replacement keyboard, the little keyboard flexible connectors that go from the keyboard to the main board?
You mean these?
Yeah, those. Do you have any of those?
Tons of them. Yeah, email me and I'll drop some in the mail to you.
That'd be great. I'll have to get some off you because I've replaced the ones I've got with jumper cables, but it's a mess.
There is a better solution. Before I got those cables made, my preferred solution is a single IDE. What's the word I'm looking for?
IDC.
Yeah, IDC pin header. So a single row of them on both the keyboard and the computer.
Would love to do it.
And then a very short IDE cable.
Yeah.
You're only using half the pins, but you can unplug it anytime you want to work on the computer.
That's exactly what I'd love to get, but I've had trouble finding the connectors. Have you got the connectors?
Shoot me an email and we'll work something out.
I'll do something. That'd be great. Okay, cool. But other than that, I've still got the K-Pro sitting here. I owe Pat Breen a K-Pro. It's at the point where I've got to refurbish the floppy drives. Everything else is working. The keyboard's working. Everything else is working. But I need to get back to Pat Breen on his K-Pro. I think that's all I've got at the moment. Yeah, microbees out of every orifice at the moment. But they're everywhere. So I need to get back to those.
Cool.
That's about it.
No worries. Dave.
Yeah. Been a pretty quiet month for me. Had a lot of stuff on my plate, but did a little talk on the Commodore PET a couple of weeks ago for a group of interested people, which was good. I think I went for about an hour or so, maybe an hour or two, something like that. I didn't put them all to sleep, so that's a good sign, I suppose. I saw a few videos just recently. So it made me extract the digit and start working on the Model 1s. So that's been good. And I dropped by Mav the other day and he was good enough to sort me out with a few bits and pieces for it. And aside from that, the only other thing is, and I don't know if anyone would know where this came from, but this was in one of my Vic 20 boxes. So it's basically a Commodore female power plug, and then it looks like either a 128 male plug and a normal power male plug as well. I thought, I know some of the REUs might have had an external power source, or perhaps the Z80 cartridge for the Commodore 64 might have had an external power source as well. But I've never seen one like this. I would have thought it would have been the other way around, having the square plug as a female and using like the 128.
I don't know what that is.
Yeah, it's a weird one.
Yeah, because the REUs for the one for the 64 came with a heavy duty power supply.
Yep.
So,
but
yeah,
it wouldn't have had the square plug.
No, it was a round one.
Round one.
Yeah. What I understand.
Yep. But this has got both, so it's got me freaked out. I don't know what it is, but we'll look into that a bit further. But apart from that, that's me done.
Wow.
Maybe
Could be
+4.
Oh, +4.
Because I know, like, my +4, as you would have seen, Dave, mine was modified to to use a 64 power supply.
Yeah, that'll be what it is.
The +4 had the square, as I remember.
Ah.
Yeah, you need to just plug it in, test the voltages, and compare to a +4 power supply.
Yeah, I know they're not the same as the 128, are they?
No, they're closer. My understanding is I think they're closer in spec to a 64 one.
Yeah, but the pins, though, the pins are not the same, because the 128 also runs 9 volts AC, 5 volts DC, which is what the +4 runs as well. But whether they're in the same orientation, that's an interesting one.
I'm sure you could find Ray Carlston's pages or something.
Yeah, true.
Is there a +4 in that room there, Dave?
No, it's in the other room, mate.
I was going to say, you could put us out of your misery and just plug it in.
or plug my 128 power supply into the +4 and see if the smoke stays in.
No.
Okay, cool. And you found that where?
Look, I bought a boxed NTSC Vic 20 from someone down in Tasmania ages ago. And it's like, I'll have a quick look at this, and this cable was in there. So weird.
Cool.
So
interesting.
Bonus.
Very good. William, tell us what you've been doing.
Well, like a lot of people over the last month or two, very little. It's been pretty quiet.
It's going to be a pretty quick meeting, I think.
Working, that's about it. As for mucking around with the old stuff, I've been playing around with some video codecs, trying to find something that will allow reasonably good quality video playback on 486, but that's about it. Really, I think I've been mucking around with Microsoft's Video 1 codec, because that seems to be supported by Windows 3.1 natively. And that's been about it. Still got my Amstrad sitting there that I haven't even had a chance to pull apart and diagnose the RAM chips that are faulty in that. But that's been pretty much it. Apart from that, it's just been very wet here in Melbourne.
Is your back recovered from those 2 bloody big monitors? From
these ones?
For those ones, yeah, I know. No one took a photo, but they bowed the table that it was they were sitting on.
Table was rather bowed. That's why they were right at either end of the, as far out as I could get them on the end of the desk to try and keep the center of it up.
As long as at least you bought a helper to help you move along. And
yeah, no, they were certainly heavy enough. But no, I think next time I think I'll bring some slightly smaller displays, like some 14s or 15 inches. I think.
Why take the easy way out?
I mean, I could always just use LCDs, but I mean, I just can't bring myself to plug a retro machine into an LCD.
Yeah, it's all that and less. I know that. It was definitely the most popular bunch of tables. There was a big bunch of tables at the.
It was a big bunch of tables last month.
Last time we were there. So Rob, you missed out big time.
I know.
Yeah, it was interesting talking to a few of the other vendors there. They're saying, why don't you come out every month? Because there's more people that come through. They make more sales when we're there.
When we're there, yeah. I
Yeah.
know. Well,
Yeah, we attract
Have
the
lives.
pirated movie crowd.
exactly.
All right. Excuse me. Henry, you're up. What's been happening?
Well, I'm going to be really quick. So not a lot. I think the last time in our last meeting, I actually mentioned that I was getting new carpets the following week. So I was in the process of trying to find storage for, probably about 20 odd computers and another same again with all the video games in an apartment. So anyway, so the carpets are all in, and I've actually been doing a lot of redecorating. So I've actually, how do I put it? My sister said, your place looks like someone who would be an 18-year-old living in the 1990s. That was probably the best way of describing my apartment. So I've sort of started doing a lot more renovating as such. So it's now more looking like an apartment that a 25-year-old actually would live in. But anyway.
To be a very well-to-do teenager in that era to have all that stuff you've got.
Yeah, so I've still kept all the computers, but I've just got rid of stuff like, for example, I had I don't know what I was thinking, but I had a cabinet maker build a coffee table, but modeled it on the Nintendo NES joystick. And look, it cost me probably over $4 at the time. So 2-pack paint, glass, everything custom built, stuff like that. So
don't believe you until we see a picture of it. Don't believe you.
He showed it.
Yeah.
He showed it.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. So actually, a member here in Melbourne actually ended up picking it up for so it's gone. So it's all been replaced now. It's all in the. So I'll take photos of it all when it's all up and running. So I've got all my I've got my Amiga 1000, two of my Mr. machines all up and running. So they're my main drivers, and then all the video game consoles and stuff. So when the whole place is all set up and running, I'll do a quick video and shoot it up to the up onto the vintage computers group for people to have a look at. But yeah, that's basically it for me. The only thing I'm waiting on, the only major thing I'm doing is just getting parts for my Enterprise 128. So been waiting patiently for an RGB to SCART connector to come out. Another member lent me their basic cartridge, but the main thing is because there's so few Enterprise 128s ever built, people stopped making the multi-carts. So now I'm trying to find audio-based files so I can actually load them up through like CAS DVI or SVI. SVI CAS?
SVI CAS.
SVI CAS, yeah. So hopefully it's actually one of those. Hopefully it can be supported. So, but in order to load it, I need the basic cart. So it's sort of like a bit of a chicken and the egg. So over the next month or so, I'll have a bit of a play with it. But yeah, that's basically for me. So yeah, back to you, Anthony.
Cool. Thanks. Now we'll hand over to Pat.
I've had a really busy month. I have done a few little retro things, but I've been really caught up with some work stuff. As Murray was mentioning earlier, I went to Sydney on a day trip for an event that Murray was holding at the Computer Museum there. So it was good. I met Roy there, who was doing all the clever work on the OSI machine, and a deck trainer as well, if I remember correctly. But yeah, that was a lot of stuff that interests me was in that museum. They have a lot of big iron, a lot of very old. There's a lot of deck stuff in particular, which is a curiosity to me. But there's a variety of things in there. So just wandering around the museum a little bit, as well as just hanging out and looking at what was going on was pretty interesting. I don't know. Remember that John Sands monitor that got bought on eBay for whatever it was, 900,000. There was one of those sitting in there, and I still can't work out whether the bloody thing's RGB or monochrome. But but I'm certain it's a green screen. It looks like a mono green screen to me.
Yeah, if that was for an SC3000, that would be composite only, because that's all I could do, that and RF. So
That's
no
what
other-
I said. That's what I bloody said. I think it was on the group, and someone's like, no, RGB. But I think some of the Japanese
French-
ones did RGB, right?
I think the Japanese ones were composite as well as the French ones. The Yamaha.
Right.
Yeah.
So
it's
anyway,
fine.
like I was like, yeah, someone was trying to tell me, no, they're RGB. Anyway, but anyway, that was a really fun day in and out. Also, I went to the Retro Computer Club session where Dave gave his talk on the on pets, which was excellent. In fact, the only bad thing about it is I reckon you might have intimidated some folks from going behind you to do future talks. But no, it was a pretty good session, and Dave did a bloody good job, hauling out all his pets and his props and making it, show and tell and a little bit of trivia involved and all that sort of thing. So it was a really quite an entertaining talk. And I think that it's the first time I went there. I think they've held one or two events before. They did a good trivia event at the end, but it was mainly, look, I've got decent arcade knowledge, but my knowledge about consoles is very, very low. Like I'm more of a computer person than a console person. I mean, I've got consoles and stuff, but I'm really a computer person. But they were, and so they're doing a lot of trivia on console titles. So I was able to kind of wander my way through on some of the arcade stuff that they're doing. But anyway, it was tremendously entertaining. Then you had to have a bit of fun and get everyone involved. So I enjoyed that enormously. I have a ton of stuff at home, and I need to move some of it. I had a bunch of stuff come in from Japan that I'm going through and cataloging at the moment. Don't ask what stuff, it's all of it. But it's, there's just so much stuff that I've got to kind of work out how to catalog and then store and actually do some work on eventually. So I've got some plans on that, but I've got some travel coming up that's going to get in the way of, I need to redo my office a little bit so I can make room to have a proper work area. Other than that, actually, there's one. Hey, Anthony, can I share the screen?
Yep, one moment.
Second, let me just find.
Try that.
Just give me a second. What am I looking for? Maybe I closed the window. Oh, no. Here we go. So I was on Twitter today, and this is not brand new, but I saw that Sergey, I'm not sure how you pronounce the last name, Kisse or Kiss, but he was talking about his Altaid 8800. Now, what this is, it's a project to do an Altair that fits in an Altoids box. But what you can see is it's got all the little switches and all the little lights that you would have on an Altair, and it's not built on modern chips and stuff. It's got like an 8080 in there, and so there's actually like a page on it where it talks about what he did to build it up. And his original plan was to try and get it all. He had a separate project called the Z80 membership card, and anyway, he built this. He was trying to do. He had this idea of doing this Altair on a similar sort of a board. Anyway, eventually he worked out he could kind of have two boards, one front and back, and then still fit it in the Altoids can. But I thought that was brilliant. So anyway, I'm probably the only one amused by it. But I saw that and I was like, should I go and order parts for a project that I don't have time to build? So probably not. I don't know, but probably I will. So anyway, we'll see what happens.
Why stop? What makes this project different from the other 100 projects that we've all bought and not had a chance to finish?
Actually, on that note, and just by coincidence, one of the things I did order some parts for is I want to yeah.
Okay, so I now get it. So he wants to put it in a can that used to have mints in it.
Correct. Yeah, Altoids. Yeah. little Altoids can. There's been a few kind of IT projects where they've said, let's do something that fits in an Altoids can. And so it's just, so anyway, he's trying to put an Altair in there, which is pretty cool. Anyway, what was the other thing I was going to mention? No, that's probably it. I've been extraordinarily busy, and this month is going to be very busy work-wise as well, but I'm also going to be traveling overseas for like a week and a half. And then I've got some interstate travel for a week in that time. So there's probably a good chance I probably won't be able to go to any events over the next month or so, but we'll see on the timing. Yeah, no, it's actually been quite an enjoyable month, because we had the last one of these calls was right after we had the last Keysborough get together. And then pretty much the following weeks after that, I was kind of going to Sydney, and then I was going to that RCC thing. And so it was quite enjoyable to do all those things. Not so enjoyable sorting through all my Japanese crap. But anyway, it's all good.
Oh, very good. Thanks, Pat. Rob.
Okay. So a little bit, still not much, but a few things. Big thing I did was I did a little reflections on the 64 at 40th. Sort of just a bit of a waffly video that I did to get that out at the end of last month. Being August was the 40th anniversary. It's a bit waffly, but that's sort of the big thing I did. Did another video on a game called Survivor, an early game from Synapse that is probably one of the more unknown ones because it didn't get a European release, but it's really neat because it's on the Atari and C64. And it's designed, and it's early enough for the Atari that it supports all 4 joysticks if you have a 400 or 800. And so if you play it there, it's got the nice cooperative thing. And on the 64, you could do a sort of a faux twin stick deal, which worked really well. I had some fun doing some side B-roll filming for that. And I did get an acquisition, which has been something that's been on my want list for a bit of a long time. So I'm just gonna, I've had it up here testing. Jaguar.
Oh, very good.
Yeah, it came in yesterday. Which is fortuitous timing because this week we had a fairly big milestone for the day job. So it's like, yeah, I got that shipped in from the UK. And there's a long story because a friend based interstate was gonna sell me a spare one years ago, but things never just eventuated there. So when that was talked about, I did order a couple of homebrew games from Atari Age. And so I've got a couple of
the SD card?
I've got an order because when that came in and that was in, I put an order for a newer game called Gravitic Minds, which is done by an expat British dude who's in South Australia. So a bit of Australian love there. But a couple of these I ordered ages ago, which is Rebooteroids, which is a really cool Asteroids clone. And the Jeff Minter Classics pack, which is ports of the ST Mutant Camels and Lamatron, and then Super Grid Runner is unlockable. So I got those, and the console, it's boxed. So I actually got in the box. So it's got Cybermorph, aka the game which is Where Did You Learn to Fly, which I'm looking about messing around with. But yeah, I've got the game drive coming for most of the other stuff. I'm looking forward to seeing some of the other homebrew stuff there. And then I'm probably going to do another Atari Age order next month because they're doing the reprint of Boulder Dash for the 2600 and Load Runner for the 2600.
Wow.
Yeah, those are both. I think Boulder Dash is like just a massive amount of ROM, but I think Load Runner is one of those games that has an ARM chip in the cartridge to co-process the stuff. The footage for that looks pretty nuts. So
I bought a bunch of stuff off the Boulder Dash programmer. He's Tasmanian, where he was.
Oh yeah. Oh, nice.
I had no idea, and then he just came up in conversation. I thought, what? Like, you did what? That's crazy. It is crazy what they did.
Cool.
Yeah. So yeah, I'm looking at. Yeah, so that's all that stuff. That's really what it's been. It's probably going to be a bit busy next month with a whole bunch of stuff. If the meet is the fourth week in October, I might be in a position to try and make it, but I should be good for December. By then I'll have wrapped up my contract for the day job, so I'll be on a small break. yeah, that'd be me for this month.
Cool. That's pretty cool. You got a Jag. It's pretty cool.
Yeah, it's been on the want list for a while, so
It's a Jag. For those of you who follow Top Gear,
Top Gear.
it's a
The
Jag.
Jag.
Cameron, what did you find this month? We don't have an hour.
No, it's not quite as good as last time. But I did get a SVI, one of the early ones with the cool red joystick on top. That's,
Oh yeah,
I don't know
318.
if you know those.
318.
Yeah, 318. Yeah. So it's pre MSX compatibility, but it's just a cool looking machine. But I just love the old built-in joystick. The next meetup, I'll grab it out, but I haven't got it here. If I can share my screen, I got a few photos of what I've been working on. It's probably
One
easier
moment,
to
please.
go through them.
Try that.
All right, let's do this. So if I go here, yeah, see that? Yep, cool. Been working on the Amigas that I got from last time. So as you can see, they're kind of beat up. Can you hear me okay? I can swap to my phone. The internet here sucks.
I can hear you fine.
Yeah, okay. Yeah, as you can see, one of them was like pretty beat up. The other two are pretty good. So they had a lot of damage. So I've been working through the damage on those. As you can see, it's just green as far as the eye can see. That's the Amiga 3000. You can see where the acid is gone just because the dust it just doesn't settle on battery acid. It's really weird.
Yeah,
You can see exactly where the acid spread.
You'll probably find that the flicker fixer part of the board will be toast, but quite often it'll work if you fix towards the front of the machine, you'll be able to get it working. But the chips that are part of the flicker fixer, which is a really rare card to get because it was only the 3000 or the flicker fixer, they're just about unobtainium.
Yeah, I mean, it would be nice to get the VGA working, but it's no tragedy if it doesn't. It's not too bad though. So I think I cleaned it. I haven't properly tested that one yet, so I'm still holding out. It came stacked full of the RAM, which is also hard to get, isn't it? That
zip
RAM.
chips, yeah.
So that's pretty cool. One of the 2000 boards doesn't look too bad, is bad. So I haven't fixed that one. That's the acid there. As you can see, it's not great. It got into the CPU, so I think the CPU legs are toast. So I can swap that out. Old hard drive. Amazingly, incredibly, this board works fine. After I cleaned it up.
Really?
Yeah, I just like this last meeting, I said, oh, one of them's definitely dead. This is the one I thought was definitely dead, and this is the one I thought would be fine. It was the other way around. I couldn't believe it. So I'm pretty sure everything works on it. I tested it out for a bit. But yeah, a lot of this was surface, so I gently scraped a lot of this away and then lacquered it again. Most of the copper survived, so yeah, incredible. Never would have believed it. I've been mucking around with my plotter, fixing that, putting the pen holders in, trying to find parts for it because all the cables broke. Fixing all the panels because that was all sort of bashed in. So yeah, it's kind of interesting inside though. There's lots of 84 electronics in there. I think it's Z80 as well. So yeah, that was fun. The worst part about it though is it's just complicated. This cable's going everywhere. Is the power supply that's 28 volts on one pin and 9 volts on another. So
what did you say?
Yeah. So I've got to make one. 28 volts on one of the pins and 9 volt separate from the electronics.
Wow.
So yeah. Kind of annoying because I didn't get it with it. Then I've been working on my 5150, 5150, because I want to take this to PAX, the retro section. I want to just have my 64K original IBM with no mods, just how it came, playing like Hitchhiker's Guide to the Galaxy text adventures and stuff like that. You know, just because, you know, everyone's in PCs. So I did have some luck with that. I got my original 64K board working, just had to find some bad RAM, got a CGA card. That seems to work. So that's cool. The 64K board, surprisingly, yeah, like it seems to work fine. This is the first time I've tested it. I posted that on the group. Just some bad RAM chips that were pretty easy to find. Yeah, nothing much to say about that. Kind of cool machine though. I like it. Just how simple it is. And yeah, IBM Basic came up fine, which is pretty neat.
Actually,
I
Cam, do you have a dot matrix printer?
Yeah.
You should when you take that to PAX, you should hook the dot matrix up to it and then run script when you're doing the Infocom games. And then if someone plays it, then you can kind of give them the script when they walk away.
Jesus. I got too much other weird stuff to do. That sounds pretty weird though. Yeah, like in Tassie, I don't have of all the monitors I've got here, I don't have one that can take TTL sort of input. So yeah, the CGA, I forgot that it outputs composite. So that's cool. Just goes straight to a normal old TV. So bonus, CGA card worked fine on the old TV. Yeah, got some parity checks. It actually tells you when the RAM's bad, so it's pretty neat.
Yeah, it's
That's
very
weird.
easy. Very handy.
Yeah, that was pretty cool. So I was looking around for an IBM keyboard, and my Atari PC ones have those crazy Amiga keycaps. For Amiga people, look at those keys. This is the high-tech keycaps, like the key mechanisms, which are incredibly hard to get, as I found out. And the keys themselves are almost identical to Amiga 2000 printing and positioning and font. So what's going on there? Well, that was interesting. Like these ones are 100% identical, and there's just a subtle differences with the others. So I don't know, pretty nerdy thing, but I thought it was kind of weird how perfectly identical they are. It was good because I'm missing some keys on my Amiga 2000. So this is my stuffed Atari PC keyboard. So I've got some spares now.
Very
You
handy.
probably use the same factory.
I must have. Yeah, it's too identical to big coincidence.
Yes.
Obviously,
That was the thing.
font
There
is
wasn't that
probably
many
wrong.
manufacturers back then. There were everyone was sharing kind of similar designs to keep costs down.
Yeah, there you go. That's the one I put on the group. Got basic going, so that's the first thing you need to do.
Cam rules.
All right. Yeah, 5170 I'm trying to get to work for PAX as well, for like EGA stuff, like AliCat and whatnot, and Command Keen. Yeah, apparently that is the original hard drive that came with them, which is super dodgy. Sounds horrible, but awesome at the same time. I found an old board that I did when I was a wee tacker. It was just a drum kit board, and
Oh, that's neat.
my friend just made it up. Yeah, and made our own ISA card, so that was pretty awesome. Just AD converters, but you know, we were pretty happy with it. Yeah, school had an etcher, like just a vat of chemicals that you drop these in. So I thought that was pretty sweet. Use this dodgy card with extreme caution because I wouldn't put it in any computer. And if you can read this, you don't need glasses. There you go, a little smiley face. It's fun making your own boards. This is 1998, so she wasn't quite as sophisticated as these days. Oh, by the way, yeah, that's the cap that I was reforming for whoever was interested. As you can see, it's like a big chunker. So yeah, on that one. Another thing I tested, I just removed the riffers. It seemed to work as an old Data General terminal, which is beautiful. Like it's such a cool design. I thought it wasn't working at all, but the CRT is so quiet and so crisp with no brightness. I thought it doesn't work. And then slowly the text came up. So I thought that was cool. Unfortunately, with this one, it takes its own custom keyboard, which I don't have. This is all that stuff out of that skip bin as well. So I'm just going through that. Yeah, can't find its keyboard. I thought that's no problem, but it turns out it's a totally custom keyboard with its own protocol, even, I think.
Yeah, it's not unusual.
Yeah, so any stats for anyone who cares? Yeah, I like this because I want to use this for the SWTPC. Kind of works with it. Got its own. I think it's a Z80 from what I think when I was. Yeah, I'm pretty sure I saw a Z80 when I was poking around inside it. Anyway, yeah, I like the way it's got these things, different languages for every channel. I've never seen that before. It's weird. So yeah.
I like how all of it's host, and computer.
Computador.
Computador.
Yeah.
Unless it's host computador.
You asked about photos for
JX
my
monitor.
JX that just pretty standard 55.15. There's no expansion, so nothing interesting.
So you've ripped her open?
No, I haven't ripped this one open yet.
Because that's got the
photo.
parallel card in it, which is in the little daughter slot. But there may be an interesting card in there. Unlikely.
Oh, internal.
Inside.
Right.
So yeah, I'd be curious to know if there's anything special in there.
Yeah, I'll get around to this, but nothing on the outside. It's obvious. Yeah. Didn't get the keyboard with it though, so that's a shame. Considering how many keyboards he had,
Do you have a PC?
think someone else might have grabbed it. No.
Okay.
So yeah, I know they're compatible, but one day. Oh yeah, there's the insane plotter thing. So I've just got to make up a power supply for that. Oh, this has nothing to do with computers. I was just happy that I finally got the Back to the Future 2 video camera in perfect condition for $100.
And Mr. Fusion.
Which is, and I had to make the Mr. Fusion out of the mixer. I've been looking one for years and years and years. So $100, perfect nick. The foam isn't even degraded, which is insane. How does that even happen?
That's awesome.
He's got the original receipt, which was in today's money is $5,000. I figured out. So yeah, well, that's cool. I was trying to fix a Taxon monitor, but I opened it up and it was previously being fixed. So a lot of pieces were missing. So that's kind of irritating. Don't even know. Yeah, like where would you even find out what piece that was? So, oh yeah, and I was walking around my family's farm, and what do you see when you see this picture?
Windows XP.
Yeah, I know. It's like
I can hear the boots.
Windows XP in real
I can hear the
life.
boot sound now. I can hear it booting.
It's like, oh no, I can't even get away even when I'm walking around paddocks. So my plotter project, I think, is going to be pretty. I think it'll work. I remember I was saying the world's first Vectrex screenshot machine. Vectrex vector plotter screen. If you don't know, it doesn't use pixels. So I've been mucking around in Unity to mock up the logic. So I'm doing a fake input, taking a fake screenshot, and it basically takes the analog input and tries to figure out what differences there should be, like what constitutes a straight line and what doesn't, so I can minimize the number of commands to send serial to the plotter to then print it out in this weird little markup language, which it spits out all the coordinates and the little commands for the plotter. So I'm getting closer. It's a freaking stupid thing to want to do, but I just think it'd be cool. To see a proper screenshot of a Vectrex. None of this pixel-based rubbish. It's got to be vectors or nothing. So there you go. That's what I've been up to.
Oh, very good. Thank you, Cameron. How do I take off your share screen?
Yeah,
I found it.
Right.
Have you got enough tabs there, Cameron? I was looking at the top of your screen. There's quite a lot of tabs open in your browser.
Yeah.
Can
you still see the icons?
Here we are.
I've noticed that at work when we have Zoom meetings at work, there's only two kinds of people. There's those that have a bazillion tabs, like so much you can barely even see the icon, and then people like me that have like 3 tabs.
I don't understand about Zoom. How is it that when you get new people like Adrian pop in, he like jumps up in the sort order? So I've been going all this evening in an order, and suddenly you just rammed in there in front of Ken Page. How does that happen?
Oh, it's my MO apparently. So sorry.
All right. Well, with you here, unfortunately, I'm going to have to go to you, Adrian. What have you been doing?
I'm unmuting my mic to begin with. I don't know. I've been doing a lot recently, but I'm in my museum at the moment, which you can see my bookshelf behind me and part of my collection over here. And I spent some time last week finally doing something I wanted to actually try and do, and that was I built a little Apple Talk network and got a HP 4600 printer. I had two of them broken, merged them together, got them working, or got one working, got a Apple Talk network card for an old 5 series, so the 600N card, slotted it in because I heard that you could run Apple Talk off it, dug out an old HP infrared interface, which I haven't used ever. I'd only ever used them on the 2100 TNs that they delivered to all the schools back in the late 90s. And basically found a driver, like I just picked a machine randomly out of the collection and I started it up, PowerBook Duo 250. It had a HP LaserJet extension in System 7, was able to print in color to the HP, which worked over Apple Talk, and then was able to print off an eMate to the 4600 a drawing. It was very slow over infrared, but it worked. So now, like that's been something on my to-do list for quite some time that I've been wanting to get off. Another thing I've been trying to do is I bought up an old monitor that, like first monitor we ever had as kids. We had an XT clone in like 87, but somehow I scratched the glass of the CRT. But the problem is it's an etched face. It's a Thompson 4440D, I think it is, that came back from Singapore in 86, 87. I've been reading up on whether I can, apparently you can polish out the glass, but it'll make it go glossy. So I've been reading up about glass etching today to see if it's even possible. But I was going to start asking you guys in the forums if anyone's attempted that in the past, because it's a pretty special piece of equipment that I would like to get fixed. And it's pretty deep gouge. I honestly don't know how it happened. I had the monitor just sitting on a desk and I put it face down just to put the boards back in, and there's just been a tiny little bit of like a metal burr or something that's come out of the monitor and just put this deep kind of 2-inch gouge in the middle of the screen, which is really kind of disappointing. Other than that, I've just been doing a lot of charity stuff with Murray at the office. We've got this huge thing going on. We're working with an e-waste company at the moment to try and recycle hard drives. So we're actually 5-pass erasing them and testing them to get a kind of a supply of older hard drives to support the charity, which will be good. Just trying to work that out at the moment, but hopefully we'll have a good supply of IDE hard drives and optical drives and power supplies for older machines available soon. So watch this space.
I'll unmute myself. Cool. Very good.
Yeah.
Okay. Now, Ken, do you have anything to say? Ken is sitting in a caravan in his front yard. Do you have anything to say, Ken? You need to unmute yourself. Yep.
Because I had to do it this end, I thought you'd do it for me.
Now, sorry, you'll just have to move a bit closer to your microphone for us. But tell us what you've been doing.
Oh, I don't know if I can make it any louder. I'm right.
No, it's fine now. You're good now.
Okay. Yeah, well, first thing I'll say is I'll tell you what, I've absolutely enjoyed tonight. Some of the stuff these guys have gone through, the whole Jaguar thing and the Jeff Minter software and everything, I'll tell you what, he absolutely loved the Jaguar. That was sort of getting near the end of that sort of era, and that was his favourite bit of gear to work on. I don't know if you've no, but Jeff's going strong today, and he's pumping out a lot of games and software and stuff. It's a lot of psychedelic stuff because he has a bit of a background in dabbling in the wacky tobacco and whatever else over there in England. Which actually brings me to my retro stuff that I purchased recently, and it comes from Sweden. It comes within 3 days, and it's at the border patrol people have been calling for about a week because they, for some reason, decided that it was full of drugs or something. From Sweden of all places, where it's like a big taboo there. So you can get the little notice, we've opened your device with our dog, sniffed it out, and they thought they were going to have a good evening.
What was it?
I'll take one out of the packet. It's a Pi 1541. I think these things on something called Tindy.
Oh, did you say a Pi 1541?
Yeah. But I'll tell you what, the design and the build quality of it is absolutely amazing. I saw these things and I had to buy a couple of them. It's all gold embossed, all the screws and everything are all gold. And the interesting thing is it has a real IBC, right, whereas everybody else uses ugly cables and things. I love your cat. My cat's upstairs, unfortunately, my black cat. She doesn't like the caravan. I've been trying to convince her that camping is a good thing, but she's not wanting to be a part of that, unfortunately. I can't actually play with these yet because you've got to put a Pi 0 under it. And I've just discovered that the craziness in the world at the moment, you can't get Raspberry Pis. You can't get Pi 0s. So I've got to wait until the middle of next year or something before they start banging out these Pi 0 2Ws again, and I'll be able to play with this. But I tell you what, look it up. It's the quality of this is beautiful. I know it's a fairly common project. I also want to get, there's another one that's being built at the moment using Pi 0, and it's HDMI to RGB, or is it RGB to HDMI? And that is another very, very amazing project if you want to run like 80 column on your C128 or BBC Micro or something like that. It's a really nice finish. Other than that, and I absolutely love the idea of a plotter that can plot out vectors from the matrix. I have a couple of vectors. That's pretty cool, you know. Yeah. Other than that, I've got on order a helium miner. I'm not big on cryptocurrency because I think it's a load of BS the way it just wastes power. But helium actually doesn't chew up a heap of power, doesn't chew up a heap of processing power. You mine coins through radio communications of sharing data, like a little mini network, Wi-Fi network of sharing data. So I've got one of them on order and turn up tomorrow. And the amusing thing about it is that it's generally based on a Raspberry Pi as well, but the biggest, I'm trying to think of the name of the company, can't think of it at the moment, but the beggars could not get Raspberry Pis, so they bought one of these knockoff ones. They're going to use Rock Pis. It's got a Rock Pi in it, so that's quite amusing. Sorry for the audio. I don't know why the audio is so bad because this little camera worked quite well last time, but oh well, it is what it is. Maybe there's a setting there somewhere. I'm not normally down the van. Hopefully next time I'll be up on my Facebook portal thing, which works quite well. Anyhow, back to you.
No worries.
And, yeah.
Thanks, Ken. All right, Cindy, welcome. It's your first time here. Just tell us a bit about yourself, Cindy, if you wouldn't mind.
Well, thank you. Hello, I'm Cindy Moya. Before I came to Australia a couple of years ago to work on a project at Swinburne about emulating video games and Australian media arts, I was working at Living Computer Museum in Seattle for about 10 years, where I was variously archivist, collection manager, and software preservation manager until the plague hit and everything went to hell. So anyway, it's really nice to be here in Australia. And I've been doing a little bit with the Australian Computer Museum Society. And let's see, I'm running the Digital Heritage Lab at Swinburne University, where we have a bunch of vintage computers like PCs and Macintoshes and Amigas, Commodores, stuff like that, that we use the real computers to compare the emulations against, to see, to check the quality and do troubleshooting on the emulations, things like that. So that's what the lab is all about. So keeping those things running is really important. So I was showing off my my Altoids Altair, which I went and dug out of my box. It's a project that that is sort of stalled out, but it's like 3/4 done. It is a really nice, tight little thing in the Altoids box. So, you know, and the way that the cards are built, they're with the little curved edges so that they fit directly in there. So it's really nice. It's a really nice project. But otherwise, I'm doing a paid project right now for the National Communications Museum in Melbourne, where I'm making a bunch of, we're trying to recreate the 90s, a 90s net cafe experience. So I've got a couple of, I've got a Windows 3.1 real computer that I'm hooking into ProtoWeb. If you know, ProtoWeb is and it's an interesting project, which is a walled garden of 90s websites and the whole tools used to curate these 90s websites and make them all clean and fresh. So, so the Windows 3.1 machine is going to hook into that walled garden and give people the experience of browsing using Internet Explorer 5 and Netscape Navigator 3 to look at these websites. And then I've also got Windows 95 on a Nook running QEMU, which will have games. And then there'll also be 2 Windows 98 computers with chats on them, like Comic Chat and VChat and NetMeeting, so people can sit next to each other on these Windows 98 machines and chat with each other to experience the 90s all over again. So that will be like really extra cool. And we'll also have an Amiga 500 that's got what is it called? Videotex? Something like that. It's some really early you know, highly pixelated kind of directory that people used for art and stuff. So that's a really cool thing I'm doing right now.
Lots of animated GIFs on the, are there lots of animated GIFs on the ProtoWeb?
Yes.
And under construction signs.
Construction, exactly.
Hey, where's ICQ in this? You
Yeah,
gotta have the uh-oh.
Yeah.
Uh-oh.
Yeah.
Yeah, we're trying to keep them off the open web. Just you know, to make it sort of safe for young people. But
is that ProtoWeb available to the public? Is it a write-only space that other people can use, or is it sort of a walled garden that's only for this?
no, this ProtoWeb is a project that's being done by a guy called Oliver Molinari, and who is originally from Finland, but now he's in the U.S. somewhere. I think Colorado. And I think it's kind of constructed for being used in a museum to provide this 90s kind of experience. And there's a tool called, I can't remember, but the tool that they use goes and it scrapes the Internet Archive.
Oh, cool.
For a certain date, and it'll go 10 links deep and then give you, this set of pages from the Internet Archive that doesn't have all of that Internet Archive, framing and stuff. It's just looks like a page. And then you can go in and edit it and try to fix up the broken links and broken GIFs and, take out forms. And so that's kind of what I'm doing right now with that. And it's, and you can just go and get it and download it. And you need to have a proxy server, and you use PuTTY to open a port and to use it. But I think it's a really fascinating little project, and it solved a lot of my problems because I don't have to, build this 90s web walled garden myself.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
That's really cool.
Yeah, it's a lot of fun. So, I put a thing in the chat saying, boy, I've got in my lab, I can mess with these computers and I can try to make it work and swap cards and stuff. But, I'm kind of busy doing lots of other things. So I'm looking for somebody to come one day a week or so and just help me make these computers go. I'd like to find an intern at Swinburne, but there hasn't been one, shall you say. That I haven't found any young people who are down for, noodling around with old 90s computers yet, although I know that there's got to be one out there.
Have you put a post up in our group? Because that you might find someone. There's only 12 of us here, but I
should try on your group. Yes, thank you. I will.
Yeah, so I reckon put a post. I think Ian and I would approve that post. But there will be someone out there that would like to do that.
Yeah. I mean, it will pay some money, not real money, but bus fare.
$1,000 an hour.
Right, exactly. So thank you. It's really nice to meet you, and thank you for having me.
Oh, no worries.
Thank you, Ian, for getting me those Windows 3.11 computers I'm using.
Anytime.
Yeah.
I just think it's great that there's actually some sort of museum in Victoria, because there's not a lot happening in that space, really, in Australia generally. I suppose Britain and stuff has all that cool stuff.
Well, the Communications Museum is it's in an old Telstra building, and it's kind of Telstra heavy. But they have a really big collection of things, and the museum itself has got working switches stuff, mechanical switches, which is really pretty neat too. So they'll be opening in February.
And where is this?
It's in Hawthorne.
Hawthorne, yeah, cool.
On Burwood Road. That's the National Communications Museum. That's just a side project I'm doing.
Cool, very cool.
Mm-hmm.
Very good. So the next person who is in my line is Stuart, who's just appeared in his magical door, which I have never seen before. Stuart, what's up with your door?
Well, I've had this door for a while. It's
just very funky.
It's my geeky sci-fi door. Yeah, to go with everything else. So it's basically two doors, two sliding doors
that you sort of cut.
And I cut, yeah.
Yep.
That's just my garage, and this is a room in my garage. So.
That's pretty cool.
Yeah, got to keep myself warm. What have I been doing? Well, I've got a few little things. I've got you guys might have seen on the post. A guy at work gave me his homemade ZX81.
Yes.
And he's since given me a whole ton of books. It's pretty cool. He actually made got this as a kit and made it in Hong Kong in about 1982 or 3 or something like that. And yeah, he's sort of more into the newer stuff than the older stuff. So I'm always giving him like broken laptops that are 2 years old, and he gives me old vintage stuff. And he also gave me, I'll just have to bring it up on my computer to find out the part numbers I've forgotten. So he gave me this HP 9000.
Oh wow.
It's a HP 9300 sort of server. It runs Motorola 68030 plus a separate disk floppy drive, hard drive interface to go with it, which the hard drive's no good, unfortunately, but I'm playing around. So for those that are in the Commodore PETs, they have the HPIB or GPIB interface, 480, IEEE 488 interface for the floppies and hard drives. I think it was originally HP Packard interface. So it has that cable to connect between the machine and the drive. So it doesn't boot off anything unless you've got a drive to boot from. So I'm just looking into that. It's pretty cool. It's got a composite video output, but I don't know what the sync is. I had to use one of those retro, convert to VGA adapter things to get it to work. But so that was a bit of fun. Yeah, what else? I'm sort of just doing a bit of rearranging in my room here so I can fit more junk in. Oh, he also gave me an Apple IIe board, which is cool. So he's just giving away old junk, which is cool. Yeah, that's about it. When was the last meeting? Was it a month ago or 2 months ago?
It was 1 month and 1 week ago.
Oh, okay. But I actually forgot. Just come around too quick.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure you were there.
I was. Yes, I was. And I had a look and I'm like, I went inside and I was just.
Because Pat brought up mouse balls again and that went on.
No, I was in the last one. I just didn't realize it came around too fast. So I missed out. So one thing I'm on the hunt for is this HP device. It uses a HP. The interface for the keyboard is a HIL, HP HIL. It's got this really weird connector that looks a bit like a telephone connector, but slightly bigger.
Yeah, is it like an L-shaped thing?
Yeah, it's I could probably show you on the boards, but yeah, so it's a HP HIL, so human interface link or something like that. But yeah, so you can get all the adapters and the keyboards, but they're a little bit pricey, and you can get a PS2 sort of adapter. They're a bit pricey as well, but I'd like to get HP UX Linux running on the thing too. So there's projects people have done to, like people do with Linux boxes, Raspberry Pis or whatever, and they get them running to emulate the disks. So that's something I'll be trying to do amongst other things.
How big is this unit? Is this the one that's almost like bench height?
I'll show you. Hang on.
Oh, it's obviously not bench height.
I think it's a desktop.
Star Trek sound.
Oh, okay. So it's quite petite.
Quite heavy. It's built very well. So.
Oh yeah.
So the units, the bit on the top comes off the back. So I'll just move it out because. I need more room for more junk. Soon I'll have to I don't know. I'm just rearranging some stuff, but that's built like a tank. It's amazing. It's so solid, so heavy. But yeah, I'd like to get HP UX on it, running on it. Should be cool.
You could probably boot it up on serial rather than having the keyboard and mouse.
You can actually, and you can click a switch and put it into that mode. But whatever the serial emulation is, I've done it already. It's not VT100, or I don't know what it is, because it puts some weird characters out for each line. So I haven't had a chance to look. There's probably a terminal emulator you can download to do it, and that would save doing that. Yeah, but anyway, so it's pretty cool. I didn't have anything with 68,000 architecture, so I just want to have. I'd like to have. I'm more of a. I like weird computers. I'm not really a gamer, so I just like to boot up a. I don't know. Maybe you can play some games. There's HP Basic. Something that the guys even made. There's a guy I found online that's made a card for it, so it can boot with flash ROMs and things like that. As with everything, somebody's made an adapter to sort of modernize it to some degree to make it easier to do things. But actually, speaking of HPIB, or there's, if you guys are interested, you might have seen there's a pet hard drive on eBay at the moment. You probably already know about it.
I pointed that out to Dave Moon.
Which model? 9090 or 9060?
I mean, I wanted a GPIB drive, but I wasn't about to buy a pet one because I don't have a pet. But I thought I'd let you guys know.
9060.
I don't have a 9060. It's just a smaller version of a 9090. But
there's also a 5 1/4 inch floppy drive someone's trying to sell as well with a that would connect to a pet.
If you're interested in a IEEE 488 printer, I might have a lot spare.
What brand is that?
Commodore.
Look, I suppose I should make a bits system, a bit from everything.
I don't have. I did have HP GPIB stuff, but I might actually have some documentation for the original protocol, but I'll be hanging on to that. But I got rid of all my HP industrial stuff.
So what I've ordered too, because the ZX80, I've got ZX81 doesn't work, and it's probably the ULA that's dead, which is the common thing that dies on those things. And the other one I've got from my mate who built up this doesn't run, but this got some power supply issues. But I've ordered one of those ULA chips. It's like a I don't know, FPGA or something that it emulates the ULA. I don't know if any guys have used that before, but so we'll see how that goes.
That's cool.
Yeah. Otherwise, it's probably that's it really for me.
It's quite ironic, Stuart. You joined right after we finished all the Altair talk.
Oh, come on. Actually, I was thinking of buying. I know I've got an IMSI 8080, as you guys know, a real one. I was thinking of getting one of the high nibble one.
Oh, it's cool.
As something to sort of, I don't know, play with inside the house that doesn't take up a whole desk.
Yeah, I mean, it beautifully sits on a bookshelf.
Well, maybe
so, I mean, you can sit it on a bookshelf, and because it's very thin.
Well, look, maybe I was planning on, not that it's going to happen in a hurry, but I wanted to come to one of the shows that we have. It's I'm guessing at the Springers Leisure Centre still. I wanted to set up a display of some stuff, but I'm a bit sort of like, don't necessarily want people toggling the switches on my IMSI. So I was thinking, well, I could have that sitting there, don't touch, but I could have another unit.
People won't touch it. Well, you
Yeah,
just put a plexiglass sheet in front of it. People won't touch it.
Yeah,
I don't think. Yeah, it's not too bad in that respect, Stuart. Like, I don't think they'll just randomly walk up and stuff. Although it is a bit unique looking, you know, it does draw the eye.
So, it's just the fact that you click a switch and it breaks, and you're like, oh no, you know. So yeah. Right, so look, maybe I wanted to set up some type of demo with a few bits of hardware. And yeah, look, I was going to use one of those as well. Maybe I just use yours, Anthony, next to it running or something. I'm guessing it's running, is it?
It was last time I used it. And just when I picked it up, a couple of screws fell out, so I can't comment on how it's running today.
Yeah. So look, that's me. Nothing else to report on.
So I laughed a bit at you raising that the pet hard drive on eBay. So when Dave gave his talk on the pet, as he was going through, because it was pretty longish sort of a talk. Every so often he'd go, oh, you know, he'd go through all the different pet drives, and you know, he goes, these 8-inch ones, they're pretty rare, you know, like unobtainium. Then he'd talk about hard drive, oh, they're pretty rare, you know, unobtainium. He was just going through all these things. And then this week, I've messaged Dave about 3 times on Facebook going, hey, mate, I've just found something unobtainium, and I've sent him the link. Anyway.
It's not currently, I'm surprised, I can't find it on my watch list. I don't think it was going for, it wasn't by now, was it?
Nah.
No, but it's not very high, the price so far, but
of course it's not. It won't be high until the last 5 seconds.
Yeah. Yeah, it'll go for.
But I tried. I can say I almost won a genuine IMSI keyboard, and I stopped bidding because it went too high. I think I stopped at like $900 and went for $1,200. But I mean, if I bid $1,200, I could have gone for 13, 14. And I think I chatted to a guy in one of these groups, maybe in this group, I don't know. And the comment was I wasn't going to let it go. So I mean, I don't know. You could have put 2,000 on it, and somebody, but some of these things are, and I think the dual 8-inch floppy for the IMSI one went for about $9,000 recently. It's just yeah. I should have bought it when they were free, because I spent, I don't know, it was 3. I spent about $3 on my IMSI. The problem was half the time the drives, they're just, no one wants to ship them. And the amount of horror stories you see these days with shipping, it's all metal, so it's probably kind of fair, okay, but yeah. Anyway, I'll let someone else talk. That's all I've got to say at this stage.
No worries. We've got one more person to go through before we go to general comments, and that's Roy. So, Roy, tell us about what you've been doing. That's you. Yep.
Okay. At the moment, I've been quite busy at work, and I've spent the last couple of weekends out on search and rescue. And this weekend, I was working with the Rural Fire Service, working on roofs. So, yeah. But about a month ago, the last thing I did after being at the museum, I've been playing with my superboard.
Oh, cool.
And what I've been doing is using the same ROM that we have on the superboard that we have at the museum. So I've programmed an exact copy of the ROM on the machine that I'm trying to repair, which is the debug ROM, which actually has some basic editing functionality and supports keywords, which the original Ohio ROM didn't. Yeah, and someone mentioned the CGI adapter, and I just went and dragged mine out. This is the HDMI TTL adapter. Yep, and it's got a Raspberry Pi Zero in it, which I've been using on my XT machine with the VGA adapter. So I've been playing around with this. So that's a lot of fun. Yeah, cool. Need more time. I'm time poor at the moment.
Yeah.
Actually, I want to jump in for a second. I was looking at, because I needed the video adapter for this HP device, I noticed someone on YouTube, and what they were using is just ask anyone's used them. You've probably all heard of KVMs, right? Well, there's a KVM type of setup that uses a Raspberry Pi. So you can basically plug your devices into it. And some of them are pretty advanced. So it's like it does your scan converting, but it also makes it, over Ethernet, so you can have a KVM. So basically, you connect it up to your computer, and you sort of open this software, which is a bit like a window, and then you can have it within a window, which I thought was pretty cool. I don't know if
I think that was Tech Tangent was doing that. I think he was setting up his new space he's going to be doing his recording from. I'm pretty sure he was mucking around with that.
I watched him. I haven't seen that one yet, but this one was called Pi KVM, and there's another one. So I'm assuming you all know KVM. Normally you just have one keyboard monitor and mouse, and you can have multiple machines. But this was a bit different. This was like your remote desktop team viewer, logging in, that type of the ability to do that. So you could have your, if you wanted to remotely access it, or you just, I don't know, sometimes it's hard to have 50 different monitors with different connectors and all that sort of stuff. But I thought I'd ask if anyone's used that.
Not by KVM, no.
Nope, not here. Yeah, but no, very good. So yeah, I think most people here would be time poor. That's the reason why I've got nothing to report for this month. There is one thing I forgot, and the guy I was going to talk to, Greg Eames, left unexpectedly. I bought a lot of Intellivisions. Where I thought I was getting a pretty good deal. There are 3 Intellivisions and pile of games, and I expected that 2 of the 3 I thought I'd at least get 2 working Intellivisions. No, there's 1 working Intellivision, 2 complete corpses that have been absolutely roasted inside. So, oh well, I've got some hand controllers that could be salvaged, but yeah, I don't know.
So the fellow was marking them as untested.
There was no indication. It was.
Yeah.
I got a really good deal because the person said, "Don't know, been in the cupboard for 20 plus years. Take them as they are." And I thought, "Oh yeah, who knows?" But yeah, 2 of them, they've had open heart surgery. There are screws missing. There are chips missing. There's big black score marks on the board. It's like, yeah, okay, good times. But anyway, I think Greg was going to ask me if I had a spare one to give him, but yeah, no, sorry.
So
well, you do, but
I do, but yeah, actually, I do. I have 2.
Are you looking for an Intellivision?
Sorry?
Are you looking for one, or are you just?
Am I?
Yeah.
No, I'm not looking for an Intellivision. I was looking for one manual that came in this enormous lot
Okay.
And I was like, oh, that looks pretty neat. I'll buy the whole lot and then I'll resell that other stuff just so I can get this one book.
Stuart, I'm sure you could tempt him.
Well, I'm just having it. I've got an Intellivision, the version 1. I've got to find it, but yeah, no, it's just that I don't know. I'm not really. I'm trying to limit what I'm.
This?
Yeah, that one. Yeah. So you just need the. Oh, you need another one.
Oh, I've got about 11, so I don't think I need any more.
Yeah, all right.
I need to liquidate in televisions.
Oh, a dozen. Yeah.
So I'm not hoarding them. They're currently in transit. They're working their way out. They've come in, they've had a break, they're on their way out. So you'll see them on an eBay auction near you. Adrian, you have something to say about Retro Challenge?
Yeah, so as some of you know, last year the ACMS sponsored the Retro Challenge, which meant it ended up being, I think, 60 or 70% of all people that went into the Retro Challenge were from Australia, because they had the highest number of people going into the challenge ever.
That's pretty cool.
Which actually pushed them back. So they didn't have 2 challenges in the year because it's taken them nearly a year to judge. So they actually finally awarded the winner a couple of weeks ago, which was the guy Steve Smith, who designed a Commodore 64 that controlled Arduino boards in a remote control car and records the movements of the RC car, and then you can replay the car. He also previously had designed a guitar that plays itself. So he's quite a brilliant guy. He actually he ended up winning under the name of the ACMS, which was fantastic. But they've just announced in the last week that they're going to do another October one. So we're hoping to put up some prize money and some prizes again this year, have people document what they're doing on the forum and get some, get Australia back out there on the stage again, because we did really well. Australia, like all of the Australian entrants, did very, very well last year. There was a lot of special commendations. So yeah, we're a pretty ingenious bunch of people. So I think, why not do what you're doing out on the world stage, show people what you're up to.
Like a Vectrix screenshotting plotter.
Absolutely. That's the perfect kind of thing, because it is random, it's cool, and who else has done that?
I thought it was just the normal stuff people like us think about.
Yeah. Well, I must say, I did bring my HP 7475 up to the museum this weekend to try and play with, because when I got it 25 years ago as a dump from my dad's office, there was really no internet to go looking for drivers on at the time. So I believe now you can actually get drivers openly for it. So I'm eager, because I've got a lot of pens for it.
Well, I'm now putting HPGL, so that should work straight away with that.
Yeah, there you go. Exactly.
Would you like to participate in Retro Challenge, Pat? Because I've got the ultimate project for you. You can fabricate mouse balls for the M0100 mouse. What do you think?
I don't know how I'm landing this.
Well, you seem very interested in it every month, so I thought I'm going to throw it back at you. That's the ideal project for you. You need to manufacture 100. Put it on the Retro Challenge.
Get it 19mm rubber coat to solve your problem.
1-inch mouse balls, please. I'll have 100.
Sorry, Adrian, what was it?
I think there was 2 versions, a 19mm and a 25mm rubberized.
The 25mm, please.
Yeah, did you get all your mice from schools or something?
Yes.
Is that why
yeah.
Okay.
So I've got a box of mice from a school, and all the balls are gone. And I have this to remind Pat of exactly what you need.
Do they have the covers?
I'm sure. Hey, why don't you just buy them from Jonathan Goldman? I'm sure he'll sell you one for about $1,000.
I don't know who that is, but $1,000 is not something that I would consider a reasonable price.
I'm surprised you don't know that name if you've ever dealt with anything Apple.
Oh, I think I know exactly who you're talking about.
Mr. Polka Dots.
I think I know exactly who you're talking about. I just don't know him by name. Very good. Well, does anybody have anything else to add?
I had one thing that I did get that I'm going to be having to play around with that I forgot to mention before, and that is this.
USB. Oh, wow, cool. ID. So ISA to USB.
ISA to USB.
So is there a little DOS driver for that?
There is a little DOS driver for it. Apparently, it is about I think it only takes up about 2.5 kilobytes of RAM, 2.6.
And where do we get these things?
I got this one on eBay. I think from memory, it was about $6.
Oh, wow.
I haven't had a chance to test it yet. It does come with a little driver CD that contains about 5 or 6 different versions of the driver. I've got to go back and find the YouTube video I watched on someone else who was playing with one of these and who played around with all the different drivers and worked out which one worked. But apparently, yeah, it supports basically whatever DOS will support. So if you shove a USB key in and you're in DOS 6, well, anything up to 2 gig partition, short file names, and all that sort of stuff. But if you're using like DOS 7 from 98, it will support FAT32 partitions on the USB drive. But that's the only thing you can use it for. Can't use it for a mouse, can't use it for anything other than USB thumb drive storage.
That's the feature we all want, is the USB.
But for getting stuff on and off of even an XT,
it's gold.
It emulates a hard. Is it like those ones that you can get that use the CF card?
Yes. It basically shows it up as it reserves a drive letter. From what I can understand, it reserves a drive letter for the thumb drive, and then when you plug the thumb drive in, when you go to access that drive letter, it then obviously reads the FAT table on the drive and displays it. And you can swap after booting, apparently.
Oh, wow.
You can pull the thumb drive out and stick a different one in, and it'll apparently work. But I need to stick it in one of these two over here and have a play with it.
Do you reckon you could review it and let us know how you went?
I am going to do that before the next meeting.
Awesome.
My mate at work actually had a cable that was USB to A, and then in the middle it had a little box, and basically what it did was it emulated the USB stick, but you could plug it into another computer. So it was like, if you remember the old Laplink cable.
Laplink.
Cool if you could do that as well, to be able to connect it to just to get files across, because
no, I certainly remember Laplink.
Yeah. It makes it a bit cooler than putting a GoTech in your old vintage hardware. So sort of still got...
Laplink did a USB version in the later years. And it's bright orange, I think, or bright yellow.
They really do a USB version?
Absolutely. Bright yellow, I think it is, and the serial were bright blue, yeah.
Yep. And I think it was supported from Laplink 2000 onwards, I think.
There was a Laplink 2000?
Yes. I haven't got it.
Was it Laplink 5? Laplink 5 would be the last thing I used.
5's the one I use in DOS, but there is Laplink 2000 for Windows, and it supports Windows 9X. And I think it also supports Windows 2000 itself. But yeah, it is not backwards compatible with the DOS version, which is a pain, because if you've got a Windows 98 machine running the Laplink 2000 within Windows 98, it can't see Laplink 5 in DOS, which is annoying. But yeah,
I would have thought that Laplink would have been redundant by the year 2000. I just don't understand. It's continued on. It's like,
I'm pretty sure you can still buy it now. I'm almost certain. I looked it up for a client recently, and they still make like a Mac version for some obscure reason, if I'm not mistaken. Or they do it for PC to Mac transfer in some weird like corner cases and stuff.
It's like Xtree Gold was amazing, and then they came out with Xtree for Windows, and it's like, what is the point of this?
Crap, Norton's Commander all the way.
No, not Xtree.
No, I'm an Xtree Gold man as well.
Yeah.
Hey, I just, we're doing weird things with I watched the video the other day. I thought it was pretty cool. I just thought I'd mention it. A guy, and I can send the link in the chat. A guy ended up getting, you know how you get those 3.5-inch floppies, and they've got the USB cable, and you plug them in your PC.
Yep.
I've got one. I've even formatted the floppy in Windows 10. But this guy got about 30 of them, and he connected them up on a hub, and he made a RAID array out
I
of
watched that.
And he even hosted a website on it. It was unreal.
That is crazy.
That was Action Retro. He's the bloke that went around with all the old Mac stuff. Yeah, I remember watching that. That was funny as the amount of drives and discs he went through till he got got a combination of discs that actually worked.
Yeah,
We all know how reliable the old 3.5-inch disc is.
I think they were pretty well. I think they were reliable up until towards the end. All the media was rubbish. But
yeah.
Actually, I got a question for Adrian. I'm coming up to Sydney in a few weeks' time, so I wouldn't mind trying to visit the museum.
Yep.
What's the deal normally? It's probably not. I know it's not open every day of the week or whatever.
We make accommodations, so the best thing to do is contact Murray and I, and we'll be glad to open up for you anytime.
What sort of dates are you talking about?
From basically from the 1st to the 8th of October.
He wants to be there all 7 days.
Okay.
There's a chance that the wife and the kids will be in the motel, and I'll beg someone to open it up just for like 5 minutes, so I can.
The Wednesday night of that week, the 5th of October, will be our regular workshop, and it is also the 11th anniversary of the night that Steve Jobs died, so it'll be a bit of a special event there.
So that's at night. What time's that running from?
Well, I'll probably be there most of the day, so from 10 o'clock in the morning till about 7 o'clock at night.
Yeah, you'll be kind of amazed just what the museum holds. Like, it is just crazy, the obscurity of the stuff, because as
we couldn't stop Pat from wandering around, just dropping his jaw everywhere.
Yeah, look, what happened back in 2018 when a lot of the stuff was taken to be stored by people, which we're still waiting for a lot of it to come back now, was they left the most obscure stuff. So, we've got Singer hard drives and all sorts of weird things. We're currently working on restoring a power supply in a Data in General reel-to-reel tape drive at the moment. So hopefully by the time you're up, that'll have been fixed. We've got a new member now that repairs switch mode power supplies for a living. So he's currently mapping out the power supply and trying to work out what's gone wrong with it.
What I'd love to see, and I don't even know, I'm assuming it's there somewhere, is the IBM 1401.
Yes, it's there. You can't miss it.
Selfie. I want a selfie with me standing next to that. It's my favorite computer of all time.
Yeah. 785 kilos of
it. Yes.
And I'm going to try to steal it while I'm there. Okay.
Yeah. Good luck.
Good luck with that. It's not carry-on luggage.
I'm driving. I'm going to put it on the roof.
Yeah. We needed a forklift to get it off the truck to get it into the museum.
Yeah. Well, I'll hopefully try to make it then.
If you can't make it that day, let me know. You can contact us through the museum's webpage, or I'll just put my phone number in the chat.
And if you call the landline, it goes through to my mobile, so that's another option as well.
And let us know if you can only make it a different day. We can arrange something.
Yeah, that would be awesome. I don't I just don't know what it'll be, but I don't think my kids and my wife are they're not that interested. Look, if there's games there, but paying they would, but I mean on something, but yeah, it's
Well, we've got a couple of games that they can run on the Wombat. They've got the Vectrix. There's not a lot of game machines there.
No, that's
the motorbike arcade game, but it's not actually running. You just sit on it and pretend.
Yeah.
Very good. Well, does anybody else have anything like to add before we wrap this up?
Nope.
I can just say this. You know how Apple does obscure things. So if anyone's ever done local talk networks, these are the original Apple local talk networks, which use these weird 3-pin connectors for 230.4 kilobits or whatever it is. Now, the one thing is, if you've ever used these before, you've probably seen PhoneNet, which is Farallon's take on it, which is just over regular telephone leads. But you had to put terminators on the end of your network, otherwise it was a bit buggy and slow. And I could never work out why you didn't have to do it on Apple's but it turned out when you insert the cable into the actual port, there's actually a switch in the port that actually turns off the resistor, which is on as standard. So there's a little plastic block at the bottom of the socket. When you insert the cable, it actually clicks like a switch on the board, which then turns off the resistor. So it doesn't matter which port you use, automatically terminates the network. That's over engineering at its finest. I love it.
That's pretty smart. Very good. Very good. I don't have anything else to say. So with that, well, thank you everyone for coming, and we'll see you in a month. The next time we will do this, if I was to hazard a guess, come on calendar, would be the second Sunday. Oh, wow. The second Sunday is the 9th of October. So we'll be looking at the 9th of October. And you'll be back, won't you, Ian?
Yeah, I'll be back by then, and eager to plan the next get together at Kingsborough.
And it may, if they're running the second Sunday of the month, it may actually be the same day as this. But
I don't mind doing the show during the day and the Zoom at night. I know others probably think that's a lot, but
we'll make it happen.
We've worked in the past.
Yeah, it's worked in the past.
So yeah,
I think I'll be driving back from Sydney, or about to. So
with your IBM, you might be a bit late.
Yeah. I'll have my phone. I'll have my phone, and I'll get on.
Last day of PAX, so I won't be coming.
Yeah, I'll be in the air.
Okay.
Yeah, no, that's the last day of PAX, so I'll be packing up at that time, I think.
Just a quick question: what is PAX?
It's a gigantic games expo, which normally wouldn't interest this group, but there's quite a huge little classic game section with about 25, 30 working systems, with museum sections and glass cabinets, about 10 arcade machines, 10 pinball machines. Some people come and just hang out there for the entire 3 days and just forget about all the Nintendos and the PlayStations and whatnot. It's just it's cool. That's where I'm going to hopefully debut my Vectrex screenshot grabber.
Okay.
But,
wow.
Yeah, no, so I tend to concentrate on the older stuff, obviously, but then there's like PC Engines and Atari Jaguars, and Rob knows about all this stuff. It's fun.
So who's going? Are you going, Rob?
I'm still on the fence. Like, I've got tickets. I'm just on the fence for potential risk vector reasons.
Yep.
Yeah, that's right.
Yeah.
Speaking of
I'm going to time my booster for it, I think. I think it'll be fine. I don't know. Like, I'm going to risk it. It's probably going to be pretty crowded because it hasn't been on for 3 years. So, yeah, but it's fun. I'm going to have PCs running Duke Nukem, hopefully a 5150 running Text Adventures, and a 5170 running Alley Cat, Commander Keen, stuff like that.
You should get the. Oh, you haven't got a keyboard. I was going to say, Alley Cat runs great on a JX.
Oh yeah, that would be good.
Yeah,
because the 5170s aren't working out too well.
Because you've got a beautiful. Just find out that JX boots, and I'll flick you a keyboard, man.
Yeah, well, that'd be good to borrow. Like,
just borrow the keyboard for the show, and just make sure it works. If you have a JX boots,
I'll give the 5170s another couple of weeks of effort, and then if it all fails, I'll use the JX. That's a good idea.
Yep, cool.
MCGA for the win.
Absolutely. Yeah. That's how Alley Cat is best consumed, in all 4 colors.
Yes, that's got to be. Yeah. We're actually having an Alley Cat competition. They give out little medals and stuff at PAX. So an official Alley Cat competition is on.
Does it have a cat on the
record?
Does it medal?
No, I don't think it's that customized, but it's pretty cool.
I was going to say, that's pretty special. I might come along.
So I'm running the Alley Cat and Vectrex Mindstorm competitions, but some people just that's what they do. They go to PAX and they just enter every single competition and try and collect as many medals as they can. Cool. A few guys like that. Yeah, it's interesting.
Very good.
Suss out the game Stray. Too much cat talk.
Oh yes, that PlayStation 5 game, Stray, does look pretty neat.
Well, that's why partly why I chose Alley Cat, just to
We'll just call it Alley Cat 2.0, won't we?
It's Alley Cat 2.0. I think the original is the best.
Yes.
Well, the last packs, Doom 2, Doom Eternal came out, which is Doom 2. So I thought, yes, now's the year to run the Doom 2 PC competition, and it was super popular. And Bethesda actually came over and gave us prizes, which was awesome. Probably exclusive little pins and stuff for the winners. So that was pretty cool.
Very cool.
Yeah, fun.
Sweet.
All right.
Well, I'm not looking for guarantees or anything, but with packs, can you normally get a ticket at the door, or should I really? I don't know.
Probably got to
buy. I think you got to buy ahead of time.
There's usually single day tickets by this stage. It's kind of spectacular. So even if you're not into the specifics of modern games, it's kind of a blowout just how big it is. Just walking around. So yeah, I think it's worth it. But I spent most of my time at the retro section, so yeah, I might see you there.
Yeah, they've got single day passes for Friday and Sunday. Saturday is fully sold out. Sunday might actually be the better day to go.
Yeah, I mean, if you want to have actual, be able to get on the pinballs and stuff Friday, Sunday, I better.
Cool. I might see you there. All right, everyone. Thank you very much for your time, and we'll see you, if not at PAX, then on the 9th of October. See you guys.
Just the last day of PAX.